is Rowena Dooley asking Sol citizens to report for duty.
I've been staring at the moon. Take me higher, waiting for your call.
This is Rowena Dooley asking Sol citizens to report for duty.
Area 18. 2949. Things were changing. You could feel it. And it was Gatsby, the center of it all.
How'd you get on Gatsby's list?
Gatsby's it.
The name on everybody's lips. You never knew where Gatsby might head off to next, but that was half the fun. No one dared sleep for fear of missing something incredible. In Gatsby's world, nothing was off limits. Unless you were trying to crash the party. No matter where Gatsby may be off to next, whatever mysterious port of call she's heading to, the next time I see her, won't be soon enough.
Greetings, and welcome back to Soul Citizens. I'm GriffinGamingRPG, and I'm back with a wonderful group of the Soul Citizens team today to talk about the subject of planetary playtime. And Jade, my comrade, we don't need an excuse to watch another 890 commercial, do we?
Oh no, I get shivers, I get chills every time I see that commercial. It's my favorite.
Absolutely. And it gives me an excuse to run one too, if nothing else. So there we go.
Yeah.
But anyway, we are back today. And as I just introduced, we are here with, I'm going to start to my left and your right, or my right and your left, JadeStarwatcher. Jade, how you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Good. Are you ready for today?
I am definitely ready for today.
Today is Playtime Day. Playtime. And speaking of players, we're going to go right next to you, to the man himself, the player, Kalrati. How are you, Mr. Kalrati? How you been?
Hello, hello. It is good to be here with my soul friends, according to Jared.
Yeah, you've been breaking records recently. You've been around a lot. I mean, you've been here almost like every week, I think, 3 out of 4 weeks or something.
Yeah.
Oh
Pretty
my God.
much. But hey, it's always glad to be here discussing some fun topics with everybody, with the community. So
listen, I'll take you when I can get you, brother. Okay, I ain't complaining. Okay, I'm not complaining. Yeah, you mentioned about the soul friends. We're going to talk about the soul friends because we are the soul friends now. So we're going to talk about why this wonderful name change came up. I don't know if Jade, if you noticed that we had a new name up there, but we're the soul friends now.
Oh yeah. We're
Yeah, you
the
see
soul
it?
friends.
Yeah, we're the soul friends.
Yeah, we've been dubbed the soul friends by.
Don't say. Don't say. We're keeping it a secret. We're keeping it as a secret. We're keeping it because we got to reveal later. So we're going to talk about it later. Okay,
sorry.
it's okay. And last but not least, we have a former guest who has been here previously, but he is making his debut with us as one of the new Soul Citizens team members. Nomad 1701. You've seen him in chat before, and he's here with us live and in person. So Nomad, welcome, and we're happy to have you join us as a part of the team. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much. I'm very, very happy to be here.
Good. He's got that red racing chair behind him, Kalrati. You see that?
Yeah, he's ready to go.
Yeah, well, don't let Kalrati fool you. That bird and ship in the background means something, Nomad. So just give you a heads up on that, okay? But again, low volume for Nomad. Nomad, they need you to talk up just a little bit on your. You know what? I'll bring you up on my end. Don't you worry about doing a thing. I'll make it a little.
Okay.
Give us a test 1, 2, 3.
Well, testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
All right, gang. Hopefully that's better. I raised them up by 40%. And if it isn't, then you got to turn up your monitor. But,
Okay.
All right. No, I'm just kidding. You're good, Nomad. All right. Let's talk about today. Our subject today is Planetary Playtime. And we are taking on a topic that I don't know if I've ever heard anybody really go into this conversation. A lot of times people talk about things you can do in the verse, but they're usually related into things like missions, like combat. Not that there can't be missions in any of this stuff, but usually people are thinking about mercenary or cargo or mining. But we know that CIG is trying to develop a world or a universe that isn't just about all work, but also play. And that's why we are doing this particular show this week. So we hope you guys will join us for the ride on this. But before we get into that, we want to remind you that we are doing a charity fundraiser for St. Jude Children's Hospital called Play Live. We have been doing it beginning in June all the way till CitizenCon weekend, October 21st and 22nd. Our goal is to raise $10,000 for that charitable institution. Now, you guys, last week, we asked that you would guys get us to the $3,000 mark by the middle of September, and you did it. You did it actually even just before the middle of September. We are at $3,020 right now, and we want to move that needle even more. We want to push for a higher goal, and we're going to give you some details about how you can help us do that even more next Sunday. We are going to do as we promised, we're going to do a 12-hour live stream next Sunday. That'll be from 10 a.m. Eastern time till 9 p.m. Eastern time. Not 10 till 10, y'all, because we're cutting off at 10, okay? So come in that last hour at 9, but it'll be 12 hours, okay? And we're going to be here with a lot of guests that we have coming on board with us. We've got Fist and Jawa, Space Tomato, Star Jump Grim. Who am I? I'm forgetting some people. I said Space Tomato, Joe Run, STEM Citizen. There are more people. Okay? They're going to be joining us next week. So we want you guys to make sure you come. New Soul. A bunch of people are going to be here next week. So please look to tune in next week for that show. And then definitely tell people about it because we're going to be doing that marathon, 12 hours for you guys to be here. That's going to be 9 p.m. Eastern. 9 p.m. Central. Thank you, Fast Card. 10 a.m. Eastern. 10 o'clock Eastern time it starts, okay? And it wraps up at 10 p.m. that night. Okay, enough about that. You guys ready?
Let's do it.
All right, we're going to do it. All right, Jade, you there?
I am here and I am ready.
Okay, Nomad, you good?
We're good.
All right, we got a lot of stuff to cover today, guys. We got a lot of stuff for you guys to read. Some stuff I'm sure maybe you're not even aware of. Hopefully, it'll be some new stuff for us too. All right, so let's kick this off. Planetary Playtime. We've seen some of these shots up here before. Jade, I'm gonna touch on you first before we get into this too deeply. I know there's a lot of marketing and propaganda. Not propaganda. That's not the word. Marketing and well, no way, it is propaganda. There's a lot of stuff that we see that come out from the trailers. And there's been a lot of stuff recently, especially people saying, oh, that's not in the game, you know, blah, 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 blah. But, you know, when you see these images, what do they do for you? Do you look at it as like, it's not in the game? Do you look at it as that, when are they going to put it in the game? Or, yeah, I know that's coming. Because there's a lot of scenes here. And if you want to pick any one of those scenes in particular to talk about it, you know, feel free to jump in and do that.
Yeah, I can go into a couple of these. Yeah, when I look at this, I hear. Hey!
Thrakazak, kicking us off already. Thank you, Thrakazak.
Thank you.
Thank you, Thrakazak.
Yeah, so when I see these images, you know, a lot of these images, I hear Chris Roberts in my head say the phrase "space Second Life," right? And for people who've never been in Second Life, the I don't know if you can call it a game. It's like a virtual world, right?
Yeah.
And this is Star Citizen is more than a game in Chris Roberts' mind and in a lot of the developers' minds of what they're developing. They're not just developing a game; they're developing a first-person universe that is interactive with other people doing things, and some of those things are social things, right? So, you know, there was a letter from the chairman not long ago where, you know, he even mentions among the things that you can do besides missions, you can just be a social butterfly, right? And that's what these images speak to here. Recreation, you see all of the different aspects of it, not just being a thing where you go and do missions, but it being a living, breathing universe with NPCs and other players, and part of your adventures are also just socializing and having fun doing things that aren't tied to missions in the game.
Good point. One of the things, Kalrati, that a lot of people, if they haven't been around for a long time, they may not know, because Jay just touched on something. When we first got the modules for this game, what was that? 2010. Thank you for that sub. Thank you as well.
Thank you, 2010.
Thank you. When we first got this thing, everything was in modules, right? Buster, good to see you, Buster. Thank you.
Buster.
Thank you.
Thank you, anonymous gifter.
Oh my God. Oh, that's an anonymous gifter who did that. They gave out a bunch of them. Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Did we have it again? The anonymous gift. Oh, they sure did. That's what happened.
Look at that.
Anonymous gifter did it again. Oh my God. Thank you so much. Jeez, oh Pete. They're gonna. That means there's more coming, y'all. We gotta go through James Brown 10 times probably. 20. Oh my God. No. How many was it? I don't know how many there were. I can't see the thingy. Oh God. Where's my Twitch thing at so I can see what he did or she did? We don't know who this anonymous person.
10, sweet.
They did 10. Thank you, anonymous gifter. Thank you so much. Oh my God, you're keeping us afloat, especially for these giveaways we got to give away next month. Thank you.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna try to talk around this a little bit because I know they're about to wrap up. When we first started the game out, we started out with the hangar module, and then the next area when we went into a landing zone, it was actually called a social module. You remember that, Jay? We actually called it the social module. They didn't call it Area 18. They called it the social module. Let me ask you this, Kalrati. By the way, if you guys haven't checked out, I'm going to plug somebody here. Super Mac Brothers, Ryan, he just did a good video on the information on the 2 episodes on ISC about cargo. If you haven't seen it yet, check it out. But Kalrati, what I want to point you to that he talks about is why, as Jade said, there has to be a social dynamic in the game. One of the things he highlights is, like, if you've got a big ship that needs to be loaded up with cargo, you may decide to do some other things while your ship is being loaded. And one of the things he gives an example to is the social dynamic of the game. You know, meeting up with friends, going to the bar, grabbing food or whatever. Kalrati, elaborate a little bit on that, because I think, like Jade said, this is about this is like not a life simulator, but it is. You know, he's trying to create a world that you actually it's not all work. You know what I mean? That there's play too, the social dynamic. So give me some thoughts on that, or any of those pictures you want to tie into that.
Yeah, sure. So, for example, I want to tie in, the top left, top right, especially the bottom center as well. And the other term that we keep hearing about is emergence. And the reason why I want to tie this in with the social dynamic is because the social dynamic also creates that sense of emergence. Because when it comes to interacting with different people in the community, doing certain activities together, the outcome is always going to be different. So as a result of us receiving and playing a game with so many link mechanisms in play, that social dynamic is going to help by to fuel the level of emergence, the level of different emergent outcomes that's going to happen. So that is how important it is with regards to us enjoying the game and enjoying the emergence that comes out of Star Citizen every single day that we play.
Yeah. And we're social beings. I mean, in reality, it's human beings. We're social beings, right? And it's like kind of ignoring that might create a certain different type of dynamic in the world, where if you promote it, it also might create a different type of aspect in that world too. Nomad, I'm gonna do the same thing with you here. Any of those pictures spark anything for you, something you're looking forward to as far as the social dynamic, and what's recreation for you in Star Citizen?
Yeah, sure. I like the bar scene. And the beach scene right there, because it really does remind me of just living in a world. There's a lot of times where I'm playing Star Citizen and I don't feel like hooking up my joysticks, and so I'll go in and I'll go to Microtech and I'll just go to Wally's bar and hang out.
Yeah,
and it's fun.
Yeah.
Checking people out and doing some people watching and and just watching the bartenders go about their thing. And that's you said about Second Life. I played Second Life for a while, and I really enjoyed that. And so to me, Star Citizen became less of a space game and more of a social game set in a space universe.
Yeah.
So while Second Life is cool, but it's so bizarre and abstract, but it's cool because people are expressing themselves the way they want to express themselves. But I was like, wow, you could live in a solid space environment and just live there.
Yeah.
And that is a dream. And so going to the beach, going to a bar and just hanging out, meeting people there, that is going to be an awesome thing to do on just a regular basis, besides flying and fighting and shooting and delivering cargo.
Yeah.
And I just want to speak to one thing real quick.
Sure.
We look at these images and we think, yeah, that'll be something in the future. But what I love about this game is I've already been a part of some interesting first. I couldn't be part of the first time somebody did karaoke in Second Life, but I was there the first time somebody sung the song Spectrum at the bar in Loreville, right? When we first got FOIP and VoIP, right? I was there, during the first Xena threat, and we all got bored on Mike L1 and I started rapping and people started paying me credits. That's what you can do in this game even right now, because they've given us some of the tools, not all of them, but they've given us some of the tools to be social, right? And it's fun.
Yeah.
And what I see here is the potential of where they can take this, and it excites me, and I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny that you would say that, because, and I think Kalrati was saying this too, some of the social dynamic stuff is not based upon, and I said this on the show yesterday on Soul Voices, it's not based around CIG putting something in your Moby glass. You know what I mean? It's not about a mission. It's about what we do as players, and how what I'm hoping is that the social dynamic will be even more enhanced because of what we as players do. I think Fastcart took me in and showed me in Final Fantasy 14, there was an area outside, and we're in this big open area where people gather to listen to musicians play. And these were the players, you know what I mean? It wasn't some AI doing this thing, but it's a very popular thing that the players just kind of, in an emergent way, just started doing, And so I'm hoping that some of these scenes that are here, we've all joked around. I know Jade and I have about the 890 thing, and having people on. Matter of fact, Jade, you were on. Was it Verity? Who did the big cruise with everybody?
Offie,
right?
Yeah, Offie has an 890 called Offie's Adventures, right. And if you ever have a chance to be part of one of her parties, definitely do it. While we don't have everything you see in the 890 Jump commercial, like that's the closest experience to that commercial I've had in the game. We had Sigelian bartending. It was great. Like it's just great. I've been on Terminalia cruise. I've been on the Halloween one. She does
wait a minute.
Around different holidays.
I remember Sigelian walking around with a box, passing out food to everybody on the ship. He was having a ball. He was going up to people and asking them, "Would you like something to eat?" And he was giving them stuff and everything, But it was just about a social space. You know what I mean? Exactly. And people really, really enjoyed it. And I'm hoping that our citizens in the game will see what the benefit of this is, and that the game is a very broad space. Like Nomad said, some days you want to break out the joysticks. Some other days it's about the mouse and keyboard and picking up a drink and talking with some people and having a good time. Okay, let's jump into this, guys, because we got a lot. Trust me, we have a lot of stuff to cover for you guys today. Let's first of all deal with this term recreation. Nomad, would you mind if I kick you off with this one? Could you read that for us? And I want to talk about that a little bit.
Sure. Recreation. Refreshment of strength and spirits after work. Also, a means of refreshment or diversion.
Diversion, yeah. One of the things that freaks me out, if you look up the definition for recreation in several places, one of the definitions reads something along the lines of something that prevents you from doing what you should be doing. Okay, which for some of us, we take a break to watch something. Man, I should have washed my clothes today, or I should have done my taxes. There's something that diverts our attention. But it is a diversion. And the diversion can be both a bad thing, but it can also be a good thing, right? Like what's the old phrase, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. To be able to take a breather, to take a breath and do something between things, there's nothing wrong with that. And as you guys mentioned, it looks like CIG is trying to provide that avenue, even if it's just a matter of because you have to wait because something is taking place in the game. You don't have to sit in your hangar and necessarily, watch boxes being loaded out the window of a station. If you want to go meet some friends and they say, hey, we're down at G-Lock, we can go hang out down there. Or if you're getting ready for a mission, you can assemble someplace and do the same thing. Let me hit you guys on this one. Kalrati, these are in game. These have been here for a while. Bars, arcades, and tables. What's been your thoughts about this? You think these things are going to become, I already know what the answer is, but what's your feeling about these things becoming active in the game? They're not just props,
Right. So I often thought about these social aspects similar to side missions in games. Side missions in games, I've seen them, especially in single and multiplayer games as well. I've seen them as ways to kind of not necessarily distract you, but provide some kind of additional activity apart from the main route. And as Star Citizen has continued to evolve, I've been wondering about if CIG's intentions with regards to the social aspect has been to, approach it in a similar way. And as a result, that's why I've kept thinking, okay, perhaps similar to side missions, the prevalence of social activities can be in some way very similar, but in its own unique way, especially with regards to Star Citizen becoming an MMO. How do you, provide that sense of emergence without having to handcraft multiple different side missions again and again and again, even though they will be procedural? And one of the ways is to increase the prevalence of the social activities, such as these games and, the bar atmosphere, the arcade, integrating Vanguard, what's the browser game? I can't remember the name of it, but integrating those kinds of things, integrating even, for example, being able to socialize with your friends using the arena commander built in the module within the game. So things like these. So, this is why I think that these kinds of things are going to become more and more prevalent, to not necessarily replace the side mission aspect, but to kind of resemble it in its own Star Citizen way.
Yeah. I'm curious to see how pool tables and snooker is going to work out. I am a little bit curious about that. I am a little worried about if your gravity goes off, whether you got to worry about the sticks and the balls and everything floating around. But Jade, we talked about that with the water in the pool, right?
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
what's
Yeah,
what's gonna happen?
absolutely.
Maybe they're gonna have some type of laser thing, shield over it to keep the water from coming out. I don't know.
I just want them to simulate the water turning into a ball.
Oh yeah, of course. There you go, the scientist in you.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
God. Okay.
Gotta be immersive, right?
Listen,
Yeah.
let me make a quick announcement. We are now at $3,120. Someone has already donated $100.
Booyah.
You guys are getting us to that $4,000 mark. That is simply amazing. And by the way, we do have a giveaway. If we get to $3,250, there's a giveaway for a 2947 and 2948. Let me make sure I say the right thing. 2948 and 2949 digital goodies pack. So some of you guys who are completionists, if you're into that whole thing, every year we have CitizenCon to give away those digital items, and somebody says, I'm not paying for that. Well, if we get to $3,250, we're going to give away 2 of those to one person. Okay, one person's going to get both of those. So that's if we hit it today. If not, it'll still be around, but that is what is on the line for if we get to 3,250, and we're at 3,120 right now. Okay. All right, so we're $130 away from our next milestone. Okay, so that's about the tables and arcades and blah 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 blah. Let's move on past that. Jade, why don't you read this one for me about Hitbox?
Sure. Hitbox is a gaming magazine managed by C&K Publishing that releases a new issue every standard Earth month. Launched in December 2935, each issue of Hitbox features previews of upcoming games, news, and statistics related to the games industry, reviews of new releases, and at least one interview with a game developer. This standard format is only broken in the December issue, which dives into a detailed retrospective on the best and worst games of the past year. After a rocky start, it has consistently been one of the top-selling gaming magazines produced by humans since reaching the mass market in 2939.
Jade, I want to ask you about this because if for those of you who've walked around, and I'm going to say walked versus ran around in the universe, when you go past certain stores, right? I think I know that the store in R-Corp has it, and I think if I'm remembering correctly, the one in Orison, Hitbox Magazine is on the shelf in these places. Do you see a way for CIG to incorporate these in? In other words, we click on it and a PDF opens or something like that maybe has information in it. Maybe there's, especially if it's like actually something that's in real time, maybe there's something going on. You get hints or clues in Hitbox, or do you think it's just going to remain kind of just a static? It looks cool. I don't know. I'm just asking, what are the possibilities for it?
I think that, it would be sad if it just remained a static thing.
Okay.
Oh, what is that?
That was someone donating to us. Who was it? Oh, Almost Over gave us something. Thank you, Almost Over. Thank you. I missed that. Boy, I have too many screens up here, but thank you so much for the donation. Go ahead, Jade.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so I've been playing another game that's in space, and they have things throughout that universe that are books, and like they could do something similar to that game where you click on it and you can read a little snippet of an article. It doesn't have to be full articles or whatever, but it would just give you, more life in the verse, more immersion. See what games companies compete against each other. Maybe maybe there's one writer that just has a dislike of a certain game company. Like they can make it as immersive and detailed as they want. But they don't have to make it a full, like you said, like a full PDF that we have 100 pages each month. It could just be like one page with a synopsis of what went on that month in the games industry.
Yeah. And I'm hoping that, like you said, there are different types of magazines up there, right? It's not just Hitbox. Hitbox is one.
Yeah, and if you go to one of the favorite places, and it's easy and accessible for most people, they have to go through Area 18's Riker Memorial Spaceport. If you're at the spaceport near the elevators, they're all right there. There's a bunch of them right there.
Yep. And I'm hoping what they do with those is actually make it so that we have to buy them.
Oh yeah.
And when you open it up, depending on which one you get, because like you said, they could be different themes for all the different magazines, right? And let's say I'm interested in, let's say mining's my thing, right? And there's something like, boring today, pardon the expression, y'all, but boring today, right? And I look in there and there's an article in there about some minefield, some asteroid field, right? Not minefield, asteroid field that recently has been found. I mean, there's so many ways they can drop clues and Easter eggs in the game that can become a part of it, once again, without having to open my Moby Glass, but it's a part of me exploring the world and the world around me, right? And making it just a very practical, natural thing that we would do. Because like you said, is there a reason why? We know that there's a reason why the coffee stand is there, right? Folks want to grab something before they get on a ship. But let's think about those magazine racks that are sitting there too. Is there some reason why CIG has it? Just happens to be right there before we get ready to get on our ships, which happens in spaceports anyway, right? Or airports, right? Yeah. But I would love to see it become a part of the gameplay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they hint at that with the covers, with some of the headlines, the covers, even the names. Like there's Long Haul Quarterly, which I'm sure Hull C owners now would be probably interested in reading. There's a fashion magazine, like there's something for everybody, like as far as their interest. And I could see them taking it like, you read this month, you know where to go to get a discount on, cargo containers, or, Apparelli's got new clothes, and they're going to review them in, the fashion magazine, whatever, like things like that, just that ties in something you can do with those magazines to something that's in the world that you can buy or purchase or do like some activity.
And it's no different than we do in real life, right? We look for the magazines that interest us. I may not read every magazine, but if, like I said, if I'm interested in crime, maybe I'm going to look up the Mercenary magazine that's over there. You know what I mean? We just pick whatever it is
there's
we
one
want to
on
read.
bounty hunting.
Bounty hunting's over there. Yep, exactly. Okay. Let's see. Nomad, I'm going to go to you on this one. This is an old topic here that some people have heard of, and some people have, what the heck is that? So why don't you give us the read on that one, please?
Alrighty. Settleball. Settleball was created during the later years of colonization efforts by humanity, close to the Messer era, when colonist children found themselves with a little to do while school and the like were being constructed. As a prank, they began playing with the settings on the prefab colony building's bug stopper force field, the most common model being the SATA-IM, an acronym standing for Static Advanced Termination Arrestor - insect model. They tweaked the SATA fields to be strong enough to knock cups and books out of people's hands as they passed through. One day, a ball was accidentally kicked towards a door, and the modified SATA field bounced the ball back to the child.
There's a lot there.
Oh, there's a lot of it. Okay. Well, I thought so. That's a weird way to stop. In short order, a few buildings were found with missing SATA fields. I didn't know this. The parents discovered the children playing a new game out in an empty lot, and as it kept them out of trouble, they quickly ordered more of the inexpensive SATA fields for the kids to modify and make more playing fields with. It didn't take long for adults to realize how fun the game could be, and visitors to the colony brought back footage of an exciting new sport being born. As with most new games, different colonies experimented with different methods of playing Settleball in the early days of its formation, before it was officially recognized as a sport. Through trial and error, not to mention a few mostly hilarious mishaps with the SATA fields, it was found that the addition of magnetic playing equipment enhanced the SATA field's abilities to interact with both ball and players. The magnetic equipment could easily be made by salvaging electromagnets from broken down colony machines, so it was a natural addition to the fledgling sport.
Okay, thank you very much. All right. A lot of us have heard of SATA-ball, SATA-ball, whatever you want to call it, but SATA-ball. The acronym is very interesting. I'd completely forgotten that. I remember years ago reading this story about the kids, but I totally had forgotten what the acronym meant. So that was a good refresher for me too, Nomad. Let's take a quick look at a video. Believe it or not, CIG, even though this is lore, CIG, this is one of the things that's, if you've been around a long time, there's stuff you forget about, but CIG actually did show us this at one point. It's not in there now, but let's take a look at it.
To pull yourself around, and here's some views of action Astro Arena, which we will see. That's the team starting area.
So all of you Ready Player One people out there, I know this is looking kind of familiar.
Mm-hmm.
So they're using the beam on the pistol to pull and push themselves. And then they change the mode to fire as well.
I do wonder if anyone's recreated this, given that we
Alright.
have similar mechanics now.
And I'm looking at this and contrasting it with what we just read as far as the lore. It's
Mhm.
a different game.
I know.
Entirely.
I know.
So my question is, did this come before the lore, or did the lore? Because this is before my time.
I know it was before my, well, not before my time, but I remember when they did this and I didn't know the lore at the time. So I haven't figured out. Thank you, Shimpasta. We appreciate you. I have yet to figure it out. Where and I was going to ask you, Jade. Unfortunately, you just made me realize that you didn't know the answer, because I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
Could you reconcile the differences between these two?
I can't, because this is before my time.
Okay.
So I don't know which came first. If I were guessing, I would say that this demo came before the established lore of Saddleball.
Okay.
It also reminds me very much of Ender's Game.
Yes, Ender's Game is what I meant to say. I said Ready Player One. I meant to say Ender's Game. Thank you, Nomad. Y'all know I'm getting old and forgetful. Anyway, that's just to give you an idea of it. But my point is, this is something that, we don't even see anymore, and some people have never even seen this footage before. But the idea of recreation and sports, and as you guys know, Saddleball is a big thing with the Banu, one of their favorite things that they enjoy watching. So it'll be interesting to see how CIG, if they create arenas or what for this to happen. I don't know what they're going to do in the game, but it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, and in the lore, they talk about there being a field, like an actual. So
Yep.
I'm thinking, and they talk about the arenas, like you said, and the Banu love this sport so much they root for both teams. So they usually give them their own section so that they don't upset the humans
Right.
that are, supporting one team or the other. But yeah, I can't wait until we have, Saddleball in the game in terms of something we can watch. If you go around the Stanton system, there are, again, if you slow down, and you walk, there are posters for Saddleball teams.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, Kalrati, let's move on to the next one. This is called Incredifun Adventures. This is one that I didn't even know about, so let's take a look at this one.
All right, Incredifun Adventures is a company in the tourism and recreation sector. It provides holiday packages and organizes events. There's a mission hidden in the game files that hints at possible missions with rewards. The team at Incredifun Adventures is excited to announce their all-new interactive scavenger hunt challenge. Using a series of clues sent directly to your journal, follow along on an adventure to some of Crusader's moons, most notable and historical locations. Finish the challenge before time runs out, and you'll be awarded an exclusive prize. Solve all 10 scavenger hunt clues and visit the appropriate Crusader Historical Society markers before time runs out.
Now, I
never heard this before.
Yeah, I know. I didn't put the disclaimer in. I didn't put the disclaimer in before we started this show because I told Jade I was going to do it. A lot of what you guys are reading is stuff that was been developed by the lore team. And so you'll say, where is that at in the game? Well, it's not there right now. But what's interesting to note is, and what Jade just said earlier, is how much of the lore team has actually developed that we either have forgotten about, haven't read, or don't know about. And there's a lot of detail that they've been putting in over the years. I mean, Haddock and his team have started working on this back in 2013, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Dave Haddock came in around that time, and they've been literally for 9-10 years working on building the lore of this universe. And right now, the lore we're looking at, for example, some of the items that we're going to talk about, for example, only exist in one system, Stanton. There are other aspects of the lore that are, UEE based around UEE. And then there's the characters and things that are outside of UEE that they're developing. So, they're not just writing, in the context of what we have now, but also what is planned for the future, which means that the game is also being developed around much of that story too, which is why it's so important that we read when we get these newsletters and things that come out on the website. It's so easy to dismiss them, but we don't realize that these are going to be the clues we need to really thrive in the universe, beyond just, once again, what's in your Moby glass.
Yeah, and if I
sure.
may jump in real quick
Sure.
about Incredifun, if you go to New Babbage on Microtech and you go to Calliope Office Suite 3, you'll see Incredifun Adventures is one of the companies that has an office there. And in the lore of New Babbage and Microtech in general, outdoor sports is a big deal.
Big
So
thing.
I'd expect Incredifun to have something to do with that in the future.
And you know what else I like about this, Kalrati, the point you mentioned about the scavenger hunt. Like, this is something that's totally not related to mining or cargo or mercenaries. You know what I mean? It's like people who want to come into the game, like Nomad was saying earlier, who just want to come chill. You know what I mean? But get rewarded out of the process of doing something, Is something you think you'd do, Kalrati? You think you'd leave that Aurora LN for a little while and maybe do a scavenger hunt?
Oh yeah, definitely. Because the thing is, when it comes to any kind of MMO, I always enjoy my dailies. I always enjoy my side activities and doing things. Who knows? Maybe you'll get some really cool rewards. It may not be some kind of cool armor, but it could be your holiday skull helmet or something like that that you may find in some kind of a loot box. You never know. So those kinds of things, for those kinds of reasons, and just for the purpose of having fun, I'll definitely abandon my not abandon. I don't like that word when it comes to my Aurora. I will I'll step away from it temporarily. Okay, yeah.
Okay, fair enough. All right, Jade, this one's on you. BTR, let's talk about that.
Yes, BTR, buggy track racing. The racing sport itself was first hinted at with an in-game poster showing up at Orson, announcing a future event called Buggy Track Racing to occur at Vision Center. It was then officially announced by CIG as a game feature during an Inside Star Citizen episode on August 4th, 2022. Here they showed the indoor racetrack, mentioning that it will be implemented in Star Citizen Alpha 3.18.
Okay, Jade, racing's been one of those things that's been evolving over the last, since 2018. It's been just blowing up, literally. CIG has embraced it. They've embraced what the community has done. They've enhanced what the community has done. We had multiple tracks. Everything originally was about, ships in the beginning. Then it moved from ships to vehicles. And now we even have the buggies, right? The buggies, even though they've been around for a while. What do you see buggy track racing? How do you see that being? The tracks are cool, right? But you don't want them to become like go-kart racing where, once you've done it, that's it. What are some things you see that would maybe make people continue to be interested in something like buggy track racing? Because, you can kind of see the thrill and spills of going out with your spaceship and racing in a canyon. But do you think that they can create incentives? Is this going to be kind of more like a more, I'm not going to say family friendly, but this is much more anybody could do versus, when you go out there against the racetrack with ships, they're the pros, and I'm not saying it can't be amateurs out there, but you get what I'm saying. Is this just kind of more like, real golf versus miniature golf? You know what I mean? Is it something like that?
Yeah, I do think it's something like that. Like it's sort of, it's sort of a gateway to more intense racing. Like, not everybody's going to, get a Cyclone out in the Daymar Rally, right?
Right.
Not, and that probably shouldn't be your first introduction to racing. Let's just be real. But yeah, everybody can, get in a Grey Cap PTV, get on that track, and they don't have to spawn, take something somewhere, spawn it. It's right there. All the buggies are right there.
Yeah.
And it's just something you and your friends can jump in, have a good time, or like what I also see happening with this are some of the established racing organizations, and they've already done races at buggy track racing.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see there being a thing where there's a prize, there's an AUEC prize, right?
Mm.
And
Credits
here
always
you
lure
go,
people, right?
50 million AUEC
Woo!
for whoever wins the buggy track race.
The track will
on
be
Saturday.
full.
Yeah, and then people will show up for that. Like they just
Right.
want to see who's going to win all that money.
Right.
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 So again, it's that social aspect also combined with a game mechanic, combined with a location built for that mechanic.
Yeah, that would be cool. I mean, you could even do it, whether like if CIG sets up something, official.
Yeah.
Then you could also have orgs who just say, we're going to create a pot. Each org puts in 10 million. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, the 3-4 orgs go against each other, and whoever gets the pot, boom. I mean, you could figure out all types of cool ways to give incentives for that.
Yeah, I'm part of a race every year called the Kitty Race, and it's a gray cat buggy race. It's usually on moons, and that's what we do. Like all the different orgs put in, for prize money in AUEC, and yeah, everybody just it's a big like community event. But I could see CIG also doing something like a contest, like they've done with their scavenger hunt for Pirate Week, or they've done they've done races like on Microtech, right?
Yep.
Where you have to log your time, and I could see them doing something like that with these locations too.
Yeah, good point. And don't forget, folks, CIG has told us that the STV is going to be also using these tracks as well, which is a buggy. Looks like a dune buggy to me, but they said that they're also going to allow the Steve to be able on these tracks in the future as well. So Gray Cat will be great, but you'll have another option for the Steve as well. Okay.
Yeah, and the Steve is the first purpose-built ground racing vehicle.
That's right. That's right.
Purpose-built. So the Cyclone RC does not count because it's a variant.
True.
Yeah.
All right, no, man, this one's on you. Nessa Park.
Okay, Nessa Park. Nessa Park is a large public park located at the center of Fujin City on Saisei. Saisei?
Saisei.
Saisei. Oh, okay. In Centauri 3. The park was established and is maintained by a coalition of local companies, including Musashi Industrial and Starflight Concern, MISC, and Astro Armada, to provide a recreational space for the large number of workers employed in heavy industry in and around the city. Nessa Park is noted for being a particularly well-cultivated park and features a variety of native flora and fauna. Public events and music festivals are regularly held at Nessa Park.
Okay. This one I want to touch on a little bit here because CIG is bringing in something that brings in the lore of MISC, working with Astro Armada. And I know that we all know what MISC is as far as ships goes. We know what Astro Armada is as far as ship sales go. But again, they're kind of showing some type of partnership that goes in with them on this. I want to kind of connect the next three images together, so just bear with me here a little bit because these are locations. Kalrati, I'm going to ask if you would continue with this thought with the next subject here, which is Saisei in Centauri at the planet Centauri 3. Could you read that, please?
Sure thing. So Saisei is an inhabited planet in the Centauri system, United Empire of Earth. Its buildings and urban development were designed to exist in harmony with the natural landscape. The environmental laws of Saisei prohibit excessive population growth and tightly control allowable levels of pollution from local businesses. Thanks to Saisei's carefully preserved environment and organic architecture, tourism is one of the planet's main industries. Spacecraft manufacturer Musashi Industrial and Starflight Concern, or MISC, maintains its headquarters in the capital, Fujin City.
Okay. And that's what I wanted to highlight that. And just for you guys to get an image, mind you, this is concept art, and most of us are familiar with CIG's concept art. But there is lore built around this already. And again, I'm emphasizing this because there's so many things that, we say what we don't have. And a lot of times we think about what we do have in our hand, which is Stanton. But CIG has spent a lot of time to develop this lore. We also want to encourage you guys, So check out the star map and visit these places so you'll see where they are. By the way, the star map is working again. I got in the other day and it's been operating. Woo. So it had been down for a little while, but you know, guys, these locations that we're telling you about, mark them down, write them down, and when you watch the video later, but go, so you'll see where these locations are, particularly for those of you who are thinking about, oh, when I go in the game, this is where I want to live, or this is where I want to work. So you'll know where these other areas are so that you can take advantage of what's here, because as CIG has told us, if they put something in the game, it's there with a purpose. And, you know, you may find that these social areas are areas where you can also find ways to take on different types of missions, make money, or make credits, I should say, if necessary, if you're broke. You know, who knows what you could do from these social dynamics of what they're going to put into the game. But I just wanted to kind of focus in a little bit on this one, because this is all about lore. We don't have it right now, but I am looking forward to some of the stuff that they talk about here, particularly about the environment and things like that, and see what type of world they create. Any guys got any thoughts about Saisei or Centauri 3, any of that stuff you want to talk about?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so Saisei itself, the name actually means festival planet in Japanese. And as they said here at Nessa Park, it's known for, among other things, music festivals. And Centauri and Saisei itself spawned a music genre in Star Citizen called S-pop, which is Saisei pop. So if you're, you know, like, I imagine that, you know, you'll go there and that'll be like the predominant music that you hear, and you know, maybe you go to a musical festival there. I love this city, like the way it looks, the whole idea of it. To me, I could see myself spending a lot of time there. And yes, it is concept art, but if you compare the concept art of New Babbage,
yep, they ain't that far off.
What we have in game, it's very close to what was concepted, and I think they're getting better and better at that as time goes on. So by the time we do get this city, I wouldn't be shocked if it looks a lot like what you see here. And yeah, I like the whole idea of Saisei, and I would just add that definitely go, you know, look at the star map, but also go back into Lore Maker's Guide to the Galaxy and see the Centauri system episode. Sherry did a great job explaining this planet and the city and the system itself, and it's really, to me, one of the pinnacle systems in Star Citizen. I will put there with Goss and Terra, one of the most beautiful systems and planets in the game, or soon to be, whenever it's in the game.
Cool. Okay, let's move from locations for a little bit and let's talk about ships. We're going to give you some background on how this idea of tourism and pleasure came into some of the lore. One of the first ones here is with the Cosmos Sloop. I'll read this one. The Cosmos Sloop was a limited run luxury leisure spacecraft manufactured by Case Aerospace. Launched in 2604, it was the company's debut ship, personally designed by founder and lead engineer Leonard Case. Its controls were set up with the ease of use in mind so that even newly minted pilots could fly it without facing a high learning curve. Additionally, the hull featured an open circle signet and curved wings that became a hallmark of Case's future designs, and later those of Anvil Aerospace. The Cosmos Sloop was retired the same year it debuted after a period of poor sales, partially caused by the then ongoing Second Tavaran War of 2603 to 2610. Unfortunately, I couldn't find any images of this. This is lore. Maybe someday CIG will produce, or maybe they have and I just couldn't find it. But just to give you this idea of luxury leisure has been in CIG's mind, and stating that it's been around since the Second Tavaran War. And I've always kind of dealt with this issue. You guys, we've had the shows when we talked about luxury on the show before, about some people dismiss luxury and say, luxury, what is luxury doing in a space game? And there are other people who embrace luxury. But I want to move beyond the idea of luxury to this idea of tourism and the social dynamic of it. So who knows? Just like we got a picture of the Zeus, who knows if we'll ever get the Zeus, but I doubt it. But if they do, whatever. But the Cosmos Sloop would be another one that I would love to see some type of concept art on. Anybody want to talk about this? Yeah, go ahead before I move on. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just real quick. You know, in lore, Silas Kroner, the CEO of Consolidate Outland, has a museum of ships.
Yep.
And I would not be shocked if he, we know he has a Zeus, and I wouldn't be shocked if he also has
It's
a
one of
Cosmos
these.
Loop. And so maybe it's down the road we'll be able to like visit his museum if you do enough missions for Consolidated Outland or whatever, and you'll actually get to see the Cosmos Sloop among all these other ships. Maybe the Drake Lobster and these other ships we hear about in lore, but don't have an image of.
That would be cool. It would be very cool. Yeah. All right, Nomad, I'm going to come to you on this one. The 600i Touring.
Alrighty. Oh, the favorite. 600i Touring. The 600i Touring is a variant of 600 series of spacecraft developed by Origin Jumpworks. It was designed for leisure travel. In exchange for a reduced cargo capacity, it features luxury living quarters outfitted with furniture from high-end design firm Tavo, along with other passenger-facing amenities.
Yeah. Give me some feedback, Nomad, on this. Is this what you're going to be riding in when you go to your playground, or when you go in to gamble, or watch the horses with? Do you? Again, there are people who feel a certain kind of way about this idea of touring and luxury in the game. What are your thoughts about ships that are? Don't get me wrong. You can do some things with this ship. It does have a cargo area. It does have some decent weapons and can protect itself. But what are your thoughts? Do you think that we'll see these ships step up as these social dynamics come into the game?
Oh, absolutely. These type of luxury ships are really it's going to be the glue for social interaction in the game. So this is the kind of ship that you will invite your friends, even people who you're trying to introduce to the game, or your org mates. You're all going to gather on this ship, have some drinks, gather around a piano or whatever, and travel from place to place and have some fun. Me personally, I tend to play games that reflect my own personality. So I'm not a big luxury person in real life. I'm more of a sports car type person or a sporty type person. But if my buddy was like, "Hey, I'm going to take my 600i and go over here," I'm like, "Heck yeah, I'll be there." Let me know when you're leaving. I'll hop on board. And I think that's a very fun aspect. There's something to be said about traveling in your MSR with a couple of people hanging around, or traveling in something like this, where you're really much more into the social dynamic on board the ship. It kind of enhances the social dynamic on board a ship to go traveling from place to place.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to the next one here. Kalrati, this one's on you.
All right, the 890 Jump. That's the ship I'm gonna steal from Griff. So the 890 Jump is a luxury civilian spacecraft built by Origin Jumpworks, with its exterior designed to reference the natural lines of ocean-borne vessels. The interior is outfitted with luxury accommodations that include multiple bedrooms for passengers and crew. An onboard pool and spa area are among its standard features.
Okay. And I know, Kalrati, you've been on 890 before. One of the things that, to your point, Nomad, you were talking about you're more of a sports guy. I don't know if it was the last 2 years, Jade, I can't remember, but I know year before last, when they were doing the Atmo Esports was doing the race, the Daymar, they contracted out people to put a 890 Jump on each of the servers, and then they invited guests to be able to watch the race from the 890 Jump. And at first I thought it was like, oh, this is kind of cool, I got an invite to go, and I'm sitting on there with some people. It was Joe Run and Xylo and some other people were sitting there. But let me tell you what was actually cool. Really, this is where the ship did something that I wouldn't have expected. As the Daymar rally continued on, and as it became nighttime, and as we were hovering over the race, the pilot inverted the ship, and at nighttime we were able to sit there and watch the race from the headlights of the vehicles, and we could actually see who was racing and stuff. And I was like, this is the coolest thing, you know. It actually was really cool to be able to do that. So mind you, you know, the fact that people can come up with something like that in the game, right, without anybody telling them to do it, but using these ships in a way that complements something else that's going in the game, I thought was pretty cool. Kalrati, what are your thoughts about this, the 890? I know a lot of people have certain feelings about that ship, like you especially, who want to steal one. But what do you think about as far as the social dynamic of it?
So when it comes to the social dynamic with regards to these luxury ships, I always think of in terms of on the gameplay side. And when I say the gameplay side, I mean, how can you access information, be it from the NPC side as well as the player side? When it comes to the 600, the 400, the 890, I always think of these things as mediums through which you can invite on board specific persons and even have access to certain areas that are offered to you by NPC organizations or in a role-playing sense by player organizations. But specifically, you know, let me just briefly touch on the NPC side. Sometimes, you know, when it comes to the bar experience or going into the bar, we've talked about how, you know, CR may see or have this vision where we go to a bar and we get information from NPCs, etc. Why not, you know, have some of these ships like the 890 blend in with the transport mechanic, where, for example, during the transport gameplay, you can get information through the social aspect between player and NPC. So, you know, that is where I see the worth of these kinds of ships, because every NPC, we've heard about the NPC archetypes, or rather procedural AI or procedural NPCs, I think, and how they're going to have different NPC archetypes. So based on the use of these ships, there could be a possibility when it comes to NPC transport and the whole transport experience, where you can have the possibility of different NPCs of different high statuses coming on board, and you potentially acquiring information from them through that own NPC to player social interaction. So I see it as something that is going to be it will have some potential. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to seeing, you know, to what extent CIG exploits that potential.
Yeah. You know, it's funny you mentioned that, because, you know, DK was on here right now, you know, his heart would be racing because I'm going to talk about the Genesis Starliner. And when you talk about the NPC aspect of it, we know that the Starliner is a form of transport to get people from different locations. You go to a spaceport, you're going to be able to buy a ticket, you're going to be able to be taken somewhere. But I was also thinking about there are other aspects of, like, how we have different types of flight, right? We've got economy, we've got business class, you know, we've got first class, right? So we've never really talked about the idea of ships like the 890 or the 600i being used from an NPC base, where they are the different levels of flight, right? So if you want to pay the big bucks, right, you could fly on a 600. If you want to pay a little bit more, you could fly on maybe an 890. So it doesn't have to be contingent upon being in an org or a player, but maybe those ships depart. Maybe your waiting area is the chairman's club, right? And you come out and you can board these ships. There's a lot of stuff that they can do there that will allow players to, if they want to, you know, different levels of different things. Jade, I know we had talked about this before. Missions, for example, where they say, I think it was, oh God, what's the guy's name? Oh God, I can't think of the content creator's name. The guy who does the country sounding voice, Ray's guy. Yeah. Ray did a great video on luxury, and he talked about touring and social dynamics of maybe attending an event. Build your reputation. There's a fashion show held in Goss, right? You go there, you go there for it, you check in, and you gain some type of reputation with either society or the politics or whatever it is, just because you went there and sat through this particular event. So I would love to see them, as you mentioned, Kalrati, these ships also become NPC in some form, you know, that you can, you know, if you don't have to own one to get on one, is what I'm saying, right? That there's other means to be able to use these ships in game, other than people just bragging that I've got an 890, you know what I mean, or a 600i. You know. Okay, very cool. Jade?
Yeah, and
Oh,
we do
but
have the 890 jump mission in
yes,
the game.
yes,
You know,
yes.
hijacked 890.
Yeah.
So that's like its
Don't
first
say that to Kalrati. Don't say that to Kalrati. Okay.
Oh,
All you do is give him ideas. All you doing is
Hey.
giving him ideas. Okay.
Isn't Pirate Week over?
Not for him. It's year round.
It's never
It's
over.
always
for the
Pirate
game.
Week.
It's year round for that guy. It's year round for him. All right,
Yeah.
Jade, you get the Orison one.
Okay. Orison, which is in the skies of Crusader in the Stanton system. Orison enjoys a steady stream of tourists to the Stanton system, drawn to Crusader for its scenic aspects and unique ecosystem. Visitors interested in the skies of Crusader can visit the Grande Observatory underneath the Visitor Center, which provides views of Crusader's prismatic clouds, and storms deep in the atmosphere can be observed there, along with the passing animals that live their lives in the air. One such animal, the storm wall, is another of Orison's main attractions. A colossal creature that can grow up to 100 meters long, the storm wall is a planktivore that subsists on thousands of tiny plankton-like animals that float in the currents of the wind. Enthusiasts can board a discovery tour to visit the nearby Stormwall Sanctuary and observe these majestic fauna in their natural habitat. Those more inclined to stay in Orison can visit the Stormwall statue until then by artist Bifasa Zoo in the Cloud View Center. And I've been there. It's beautiful.
It is.
The waterfall by it. It's not a waterfall. It's a fountain. But it's beautiful.
One of the things I know that caught your interest, probably Jade, was is an observatory, right?
Yeah.
That's there, right?
Yeah.
And tourism is a factor for some of these places. And some of you guys know when we first got to Orison, that's all you did was just kind of run around this place and see stuff. I mean, it was pretty amazing to go to Orison and see it for the first time. And even now, when you guys go over by the storm wall, I don't know what they call it, guys. Do you guys know what they call the sound artwork that's there? Maybe some people don't know this.
Art installation?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
When you go past the Stormwall statue and you walk out on that long ledge, there is a piece of artwork that makes noise. It does music. It does this sound loop. And does anybody know what I'm talking about? It's really, really cool. And to me, that could be like one of those scavenger hunt things, right? You know, they give you a clue and you got to figure out where it's at, right? But it's a beautiful sounding thing that's there. And then even when you go to the Stormwall itself, I think it does some type of, does it do like a noise or something at the statue? Because I know it's shooting water out of the top of it, but I thought it was something weird about it. Maybe I'm dreaming. Maybe I'm just thinking about the musical thing at the very end of the thing there. But you mentioned about the tour ride, Jade. Why don't you talk a little bit about that? Because there is a place where you could, it's not functioning yet, but in the spaceport, right?
Yeah. So when you go to the spaceport, there's several different shuttle stops, and one of them, which isn't functioning yet, is to go on what's called discovery tours. And they are to take you on a tour to see the storm walls, the majestic storm walls. In fact, if you're at the spaceport, looking to spawn your ship, you'll often hear an announcement about going to see Crusader's General Giants, the storm wall. So it tells me that, at some point in the near future, it'll be something that we'll be able to do. Maybe it was something that was intended and it just never made it into the game yet. But it's, it's part of the lore, and it's definitely something we've seen them working on. They've shown us, the 3D model of the storm wall. So I can't wait. They are huge. You can land a ship on them. That's how big they are.
Yeah, God knows. I hope that we have somebody protecting them out there. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Oh yeah, no, they are a protected species. So.
No, yeah, I know they're supposed to be protected. I'm saying I hope there's somebody out there to protect them.
Oh yeah,
I've already heard people on the freaking Captain Ahab mode right now. They want to go out there and start Moby Dicking those bad fellas. So
yeah, I don't know why. Like they don't mess with anybody.
Wait,
they
you know
eat
what?
Plankton.
You know what I
They're
said?
not going to eat you,
Jade. You know what I said? I hope that they make those suckers that if you piss them off, they will eat you. That's actually what I hope that they do. I do. I hope if you piss them off, they swat you.
They just whip their body around and you're dead. That's how big they are.
For those of you who are watching Ahsoka, you seeing examples. You're seeing examples of that right now. So if you haven't checked out Ahsoka, check it out. This last couple episodes.
I just love the start.
Yeah. So silly. Okay, let's go back to Nomad. We're gonna go to you on this one.
Olympus Pool, GOS. The Olympus Pool is a unique cosmic phenomenon located in the GOS system. It is an unusually dense interstellar cloud packed with reflective, colorful cosmic dust in shades of turquoise, gold, and deep orange that is visible from the surface of all the planets in the system. Visits to GOS specifically to view the Olympus Pool make a major contribution to the local tourism industry.
Okay. So the Olympus Pool, and God, there are a lot of people who've talked about GOS as one of those systems that they want to set up shop in and live in. I always found it unique when I've read about this Olympus Pool. It says that no matter where you are in the system, you can see this cloud. So I'm really curious to see like what that's going to look like, you know, and it's a tourist attraction, evidently. I'm not sure, Jade, let me ask you, for something like this, are there, based upon, I know this is a very vague description, is there other economic reasons such as harvesting or, you know, mining aspects to a phenomenon like this, or would it just be something that's just visual?
Well, you know, that's going to depend on CIG and what they want to do with it. But I would say that it's probably just visual.
Okay.
But you know, I say just visual, but to tie in what we were talking about with the touring ships, like the 890 Jump and the 600i, you know, there could very well be like a mission to take VIPs to all these really unique, you know, tourist locations, like a cruise, right? And you complete that and you get a huge payout if you able to do it safely, get them there in, you know, one piece and happy. And I look at this as something that we sort of had something like this in the game briefly when we could all see the Pyro Nebula.
Yeah.
If people can remember back to the early 3.x patches.
I remember that.
Yeah, and I remember Chris Roberts even pointed at one of the Citizen Cons. You see that? That's Pyro, right? So we don't have that in the game now, but I would like to see, for instance, you know, more things like that. Like, for instance, we have these big gas clouds in the game, but you can't see those from the surface of any planets. And so Olympus Pool might just be an immense version of one of those gas clouds that is visible from everywhere in the system.
I know when they showed us Pyro last year, one of the things that people oohed and awed about was the skyboxes. The fact of seeing the different hues and colors, you know, and so I'm hoping that also becomes a factor, that there's certain phenomenon. There's a great episode in Andor, the series Andor, where there's this meteor phenomenon that happens every like 100 years or 70 years, something weird like that, I forget. But the people there literally on that planet migrate to this one particular location just so they can witness this. I would really hope that there would be like that type of phenomenon, like, you know how like we see Halley's Comet, right? Or an eclipse, right? Just something that happens that gathers people to an area to see something like that. And of course that could bring a whole lot of things, right? People know that there are people going. There could be the people who are trying to pirate somebody's 890 because they know these people are going there, you know, to see this phenomenon. Yeah. But, you know, part of a social dynamic that also creates some type of, you know, dynamic event from players responding to something as simple as a beautiful meteor shower, you know, something like that.
There are things like that in the lore of the game, like already, that, you know, if they want to, if they choose to, they can, you know, somehow implement, especially once we have planets actually, you know, revolving around the stars. So we have years. You know, in a certain time of year, you go to this planet and you can witness, like you said, you know, specific meteor showers that planet passes through, a debris cloud, right? All kinds of things like that become possible, and, you know, and they're cool, and they are social, you know, there's social potential in them. I was lucky enough to live in a part of the country not too far from where the pathototality of the 2017 Great American Eclipse was, and I can tell you, like, I went down to this little tiny town called Unity in Oregon, and I didn't think like there'd be anybody
and
there.
there were tons of folks, right?
you could blink and be through this town.
We
Chris.
did the same thing. We
There
drove 2.5 hours to ours, and we got there, and it was a mass of. It was out of nowhere.
Yeah,
it was unbelievable.
It was like a music festival. There were tens of thousands of people that descended on this town. I didn't think anybody knew about it. I got NASA's Path of Totality out, and I just, compared it to Google Maps, found the smallest town I could. I didn't, think there was going to be anybody there. But
it beat you to it.
And I could
know.
see, and Star Citizen, there could be locations like that.
Exactly.
That normally there's nothing going on, but when that event comes up, everybody descends on it, and who knows what you might do, and who you might meet, what NPC might give you a special mission because you were there at that perfect time.
Good point. Okay. All right, gang. We are going to take our mid-showtime break, and once again, we want to say thank you for everyone who's here. I know I saw a couple people drop in, and who was it? Someone gave us a donation. I'm sorry if I missed it. Pramster, thank you so much for that sub. Good to see you, Reload. And also to 12 Count, thank you for following. Appreciate that. Our show today is talking about Planetary Playtime, things that you can do for fun in the verse. But before we go further with that, we're going to talk about our fundraiser. We are at $3,120. We are $130 away from our next milestone goal. We really appreciate you guys that have been giving towards St. Jude Children's Hospital. As you guys know, this culminates, as I mentioned, on October 22nd. We're going to run a little 30-second plug for that, show you where we are, and then we're going to come right back to the show. So check it out.
As a mother, you don't want to have to worry about this bill is coming, but then she needs this chemo. That's a decision you shouldn't have to make.
At St. Jude, a family never sees a bill at all, not one bill. It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders. Every dollar counts, every donation, it means the world.
It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family.
Finding cures, saving children. Donate now at stjude.org.
Okay, awesome. And this is where we are right now. You guys have been bringing us up the tier from $500 to $1,000 to $2,000 to $3,000 as of week before last. And now we are moving toward our $4,000 goal. We're going to give away a RSI Apollo triage with LTI. You guys can see all the great things that we're going to be giving away at each one of these different levels that we reach. We know it's ambitious for October 22nd, but we know that you guys can help us get there. So please pass the information on to friends and family. They may not be into Star Citizen, but they are probably into something like St. Jude Children's Hospital. Put it on your social media. Let people know that they can give. We really, really appreciate all the efforts that you guys have done to help us get the word out. And thank you for giving to St. Jude. Okay. Alrighty then, let's move on. I'm going to see where we left off at. I think we are on Kalrati this time around. Kalrati, back to the racing subject matter. Here we go.
Woo. The Moray Cup. The Moray Cup is a spacecraft race held annually at the end of racing season in the Ellis system. Dating back to 2467, when terraforming workers of Gaia Planet Services unofficially raced one another to pass the time, the Moray Cup is now the most prestigious event in modern racing. It utilizes natural and artificial obstacles to create two challenges. In the classic race, pilots are ranked on their speed and navigational skill. In the Blitz race, pilots are allowed to engage in limited combat to disable their competitors.
All right, let's take a quick look at a video for this. Guys, this video goes way back for those of you who haven't seen it, but it's still relevant. And then we'll let everybody talk about it a little bit.
We're back, and we're racing in New Horizons. I'm Trevor Bask for GSN Murray Cup coverage. Couldn't argue for better conditions to race in, I suppose. I love it when the
That's the Murray Cup. Let me do something here. You guys give me some feedback on this. Thoughts about, we know that they just did a new upgrade in Arena Commander, but give us your thoughts about the Murray Cup.
Okay, I'll go, I guess. Yeah, like I'm looking at that video and I'm wondering, did that come out in 2014? Because it's all 2944 for the year. And so did that predate the actual Arena Commander? I think it did, didn't it?
I can't remember if this came out. I think this came out with Arena Commander because we used to pick the different things that we wanted. No, this was I don't know. God, this was so long ago. Does anybody remember if the racetrack? I forget what the name of the racetrack is.
New Horizons.
Is that the name? I thought it had a different name. Maybe that is the name of it. Does anybody remember? It came out with Fast Card said it came out with Arena Commander. Yeah, Old Vanderbilt. That's what I'm looking for. That name.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so like, looking at it, like I remember when I first was introduced to the game, I was like, wow, this is really cool. And I just wanted to be able to fly down and like actually land on the planet. It's an actual planet in the Star Citizen universe called Green in the Ellis system. And now in Arena Commander, you can actually do that. You can actually land. As far as the course itself, I remember the first time I tried racing it, like I tried racing it at full speed. I could not do it. You really realize each ship has a different personality when you try to race this in different ships, and that was one of the things that also drew me to the game. Was there was like a uniqueness to what you were flying, in order to have an edge in this race. You fly something different, and like to me, just in general, the racing community it's great in Star Citizen. It's tight knit, even though it's grown a lot. I captained the first Daymar Rally winner in the Cyclone division, so like I'm tied to racing. My heart, is into racing. I never got really super into ship racing, other than like in Arena Commander, but I love that, that was one of the first things they implemented in the game in some way, was the Murray Cup from lore. And a lot of times people say, oh yeah, lore, I wish it was in the game. Well, here's some lore that's been in the game almost since the beginning.
Very good. Yeah. Thank you, BBG. We appreciate that. 750 bits. Thank you, brother. Nomad, you've been around for a little while, right? You remember, did you ever do the racing here? Because I remember this was a big thing back in the day with folks we didn't have an official leaderboard, but there were people who were known for racing this track.
I tried. I could not. I couldn't wrap my head around because I tried to follow the arrows, and I figured that was the optimal racing line, because I'm a race fan in real life in general, and so I figured this is the racing line, but I could never quite make it work, and I'd always get lost in this track. So I just kind of like, well, I'll just let people who know what they're doing just do it.
Yeah, it's definitely a track that you have to fly it several times and know when to make your turns, because the orientation, sometimes you have to literally invert in order to see where the next set of arrows are going. Some people know exactly when to pull back. I mean, it's not an easy thing to do, not by any means. Let me ask you, Kalrati, since they've been enhancing this, one of the things that my concern with racing is the social dynamic of where will we be to watch this? I mean, it's one thing if you're in the ship doing it, right? But when they throw these events, I mean, are these platforms going to be places where we can go to be able to watch? Like, like a lot of times when you watch the Grand Prix, there are people scattered all throughout the racetrack, right, to watch it. I know we can watch it on monitors, and that's cool too, but I would love to think that, if, like I was mentioning earlier, reputation, I fly here to watch the race, there's a booth where there's certain places where I can pay to go and sit and watch the race. I would love something like that. But of course, getting people shuttled in and out may be an issue. Do you think they'll make it so that the public can have a space to be in socially? Or do you think it's just going to kind of remain, here's the track and the racers are out there, and, that we can't really engage on a social level?
Yeah, Griff, that's a good question. And I think it will depend on how, firstly, resources that they have to work on it, as well as priority. Because one of the that combination that we're looking forward to is how they approach it with regards to Grimhex, because we've had that Grimhex, that social aspect, that social location for races for quite some time, but of course due to priority and such, they haven't really matured it. Of course, right now we have other we have a lot more racetracks, but at the same time, with regards to the evolution of it, for Arena Commander, we have something that is arguably special as well. See, they haven't released it in Arena Commander right now with regards to the multi-crew aspect. But who knows? Maybe if it's possible, similar to how we can possibly click on certain nodes in the future when multi-crew comes in to Arena Commander again, where we can join the certain multi-crew ships. Perhaps we can join to enter certain locations as NPCs, as spectators.
Yeah, spectators. Yeah.
So that's one of the things that I'm thinking that they can work on, to kind of improve the whole social aspect. And, specifically with regards to the PU, it would be nice to have some kind of reputation-based aspect to see, okay, based on your reputation with this kind of host that's hosting this competition, you can be situated here, and if you're situated here, you get this kind of information by hanging out with these groups of people or NPCs. So the imagination is wide, and we'll have to see what they do with it, and how they make use of the existing mechanics and future mechanics to come.
All right, y'all heard that. Imagination is wild. CIG didn't say it. All right, that was from the words. That was from the brain, the mind of Kalrati. But it's a great idea, because in Grimhex they've got that area there for racing, right? To be able to sit there, and I would love for us to be able to, like you said, port in someplace in here, and we get a spot. And you just, like you said, when you come in as a spectator. Because if you've got orgs that are competing against orgs, I would love for all my org mates to be, in one of these buildings, and we're all there watching the race together. But that's like you said, that's anything. Okay.
We may have to wait until we actually have the GOS system in green
in order to get something like that. Yeah, it would be cool. It would be cool. Okay, Jade, could you hit Abel Baker, please?
Yes, I can. The Abel Baker Challenge is an official spacecraft racing event held in the Baker system. It makes use of system-specific obstacles to hamper the pilot's efforts in reaching the finish line. Though the use of weapons is allowed during most legs of the race, shooting to kill is generally discouraged. Even so, the casualty rate of participants can be high. Racers are alerted to the time of the event one standard Earth day before it is set to begin.
Okay. And believe it or not, I found a video that someone from the community put together. I'll let you guys take a look at it. This is done by Rallyman Gaming.
Oh, nice.
Welcome to the Baker system, home of the Abel Baker Challenge. If there was one way to prove the mettle and grit of a ship, this is it. On the very outskirts of UEE-controlled space, this unsanctioned race takes place across 3 of the most extreme environments known to the Empire. Baker 1. The entire system orbits binary stars, but Baker 1 is unstable. Its elliptical orbit falls so close to Baker A that it melts the armor plating on any unshielded ship foolish enough to go there. Baker 2. The atmosphere of this smog planet is so corrosive, it destroys environmental seals and melts hull plating. The collection of gases is so thick that it reflects the sunlight, giving off what many would call an eerie glow. Baker 3. This ever-expanding ice giant has been deemed a no-fly zone by the UEE. Towering pillars of ice break up the frigid skyline. If the cold here doesn't kill you, a falling sheet of ice will. While designing the Mercury Star Runner, Crusader Industries needed a challenge so extreme it would test the ship and all of its components to its very core. Most pilots that enter this race will never see its finish line. Crusader Industries has seen it twice. If you're looking for speed, dependability, and style that transcends worlds, you want Crusader Industries. Visit your local Crusader Industries showroom today.
Okay. All right. Jade, you want to fly that race?
Yeah. I would definitely. It's definitely an endurance race, and the way he portrays it with the different environments. You're racing against nature as much as you're racing against other racers, and I mean that's sort of the appeal of the Daymar Rally. It's so hot and inhospitable moon. I'd only take issue with his ice giant.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna say something.
But I don't fault him, because when I went and looked at the description of Baker 3, they themselves, CIG themselves, have it as a place that you can land, even though you really can't land on an ice giant. Right. Just like a gas giant, there's really landing on it. But yeah, so the Able Baker Challenge, to me, what stands out to me about it that I like is that this is something they only find out about one day before it's set to begin, and in a way, it reminds me, it's like a human version almost of the Xi'an race, the Koei, which they don't even know the checkpoints ahead of time. Like, they don't know the checkpoint until they reach one in that race. So it's adding another level of difficulty onto, a race against other racers. And yeah, these, again, racing is, as much as it's a solitary event as a racer, the whole preparation before a race, practice races, all of that has built up a solid community of people. Other people's names. Everybody knows in the racing community. They know Diplomat. They know some of these racers that are prolific.
Right.
And that is something that I didn't see happening as early as it has in this game. I thought it would take a lot longer, but thanks to Atmo Esports and XGR, that aspect is one of the strongest aspects of the social gameplay in Star Citizen right now.
Absolutely. Nomad, are you going to race or are you going to watch? Which one at the Baker?
I will be a spectator.
You don't like the idea of acid and corrosives and all that other stuff.
My goodness! I'm very proud of my MSR being
in peace
test for this, but no, I will be just watching.
Okay, fair enough. All right. Well, let's take you to a different race that might be a little bit easier on your heart. Why don't you do the Daymar Rally for us?
Alrighty, Daymar Rally, Daymar Stanton. The Daymar Rally is an annual unsanctioned race that takes place on Daymar every standard Earth year, SEY, on Daymar, Stanton 2B, the second moon of Crusader, Stanton 2. In each race, participants must pilot ground vehicles to multiple checkpoints and complete set tasks before they are allowed to cross the finish line. Live fire is allowed after the drivers reach the first checkpoint, which has resulted in multiple injuries and deaths since the first race was held in 2922. Due to the dangerous nature of the race, Crusader security strongly discourages people from participating.
Okay, let's take a look at the video for this one.
on! Go!
Oh, baby, the helicopter Spartan dropping in. No! Trippy, you're stuck. What is going on right now?
Way.
Has finished, but there's some race. You saw that explosion? Oh no, he missed that jump, D-Talk. Yep.
Boom! We just got another collision there with the Cyclones. Just gained the lead against Team CIG. CIG is being hounded by these two additions. Here we go. Through the arms, underneath. Oh no, don't hit the Betty! Oh, okay, I thought he was going to hit the Betty. There we go,
No, he's
check
good.
leak.
There we go. Passing the Betty right under there. There is your first wave. Oh, wow. Beautiful, beautiful swap here.
Did you see that, crew? Like, one went in, the other one was ready to drive out.
All right, I'm going to stop it right there. I think we've gotten a little bit of idea of what the Daymar rally is like. Yeah, let me go to Nomad here on this one. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, talk about emergent gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
This has grown into a true sport.
Mm-hmm.
You see there on the screen, Atmo Esports. They cover it like a sporting event.
Mm-hmm.
With Crucian and Meyer and all these guys are. I mean, there they are right on the screen. Detox. I mean, it's amazing watching these events with sports commentators. It's like a regular sport event, and it's so much fun to watch these things. It's unbelievable. And these are the kind of things that you're going to be sitting in a bar or in your luxury ship on a screen, watching it with your buddies, or taking a luxury ship, landing on. I don't know if there's spectators allowed on trackside, but you land your ship and you watch these racers go by, and it's an event. It's almost like Monaco. It's like the Dakar Rally, which is kind of what it's based on. The Paris Dakar Rally in real life. It's an amazing event, and if you haven't seen it, if you haven't watched Atmo Esports cover this event, you have got to do it at least once. It's so much fun to watch.
Yeah. I think for social dynamic of this, and I'll let Kalrati and Jay drop in. I've got to watch our time, guys, because we're pushing up late. But I do want them to say something about this. I'm hoping that you mentioned about whether there could be spectator locations, and that would be interesting. If they could create something. Obviously, CIG could always spawn in some freaking grandstands if they wanted to. But what I would really love to see is like how we watch the coverage now on Twitch. We'll watch it. I can't wait till they can pipe that into the monitors in the bars, at the social locations in the game where we can sit there and meet up with friends instead of me firing up my computer and bringing up my browser. Instead, I'm going into the game and I'm sitting there and I'm watching, like you said, this professionally done, event and enjoying it in game. That's the thing that I really would love to be able to do. Cal, I know Jade's going to have some thoughts because she's been in it. Kalrati, you got anything in relation to this before I go to Jade? The race?
Yeah, particularly with what you just touched on, Griff. We know that NPCs, they can target you, they can fly to you, they can look at you with your ships. So who knows? Maybe with Reddit texture, they can perhaps have some kind of pre-tag way if you're participating with your friends or so, that these kind of NPC bots can actually tag you once they know that you're part of and you're doing the race, and that can, through render to texture, render some kind of thing on the screen. So that's been my, my small idea on something like that being possible.
Yeah,
but who knows?
Wow, interesting. Jade?
Yeah, so as a lot of people already know, I'm no stranger to the Daymar Rally. I've participated in all but one Daymar Rally, and even before the Daymar Rally, I ran the Shub into Eager Flats Challenge, which sort of became the first leg of the Daymar Rally. So I've been around with this race since its inception, and I will say that it amazed me that CIG, incorporated the lore of the Daymar Rally as canon in the official lore of the game. The race itself is a tremendous undertaking. It gets bigger every year. I honestly don't know how Corsair does it. It's going to be great when we have server meshing, but this takes place over 1,000 people across multiple servers, right? Like, that it's just staggering the amount of organization that goes into this, and I participated on all levels with this. At least, like, I've helped set up practice races. I've been a Dragonfly rider, racer several times. I've been a support pilot. I do support for my race team, and we did win the first one, but the whole thing about this, even if you don't win the Daymar Rally, it's a huge accomplishment just to finish. I personally never won this race. I captained a winning team, but I did finish it on a Dragonfly after being attacked. Like, there's so much that goes on in this race.
Let me ask you this: what was the longest run? Because I remember there was an instance once where they go like 11 hours or something like that. Like, their vehicle ended and they ran the distance or something to close it out or something. Do you remember what it was, the time on that?
That happened twice. I know it was like well over like 4 or 5 hours, I think. I'm remembering it was somebody from the Oryx Skyrim Emporium, and there was guy named Kane, but I'm trying to remember the guy before him, the year before him that did it. And I mean, the year that my team won, we finished on foot. I mean, we weren't too far from the outpost. I think we were like a few kilometers, but our Cyclone got destroyed. And so the driver just got out and
started running.
Started running. And we had such a lead on everybody else that it was possible to finish on foot ahead of everybody. But yeah, like,
one year I just know it went a long time. It went like an extremely long time. I don't remember what year it was, but people watched it. That's my point.
Yeah,
people were still engaged.
Anybody in that truck division where they're racing like Ursas and the Spartans and things like that. That race, that's the real endurance race because of how long it takes. I mean, I don't know how they do it. I don't even want to race a Cyclone. I like the fastest vehicle, which is Gravlev, because it is such a grueling race to run, and it takes a long time for those lower vehicles.
Okay, all right. Well, that's the Daymar Rally, gang. We're going to hit a couple more of these, and we're almost through, so hang in there with us, guys, okay? We've got a couple more to go here. Kalrati, why don't you hit the one for Yulin?
All right, the spacecraft... Oh, 1 second.
It's a stockbroker calling him on a Sunday.
Yeah, guys, it's actually... All right, so the spacecraft races of Yulin. The Yulin system is...
You need to take it? I can let Jade read the next one if I need to.
We're good now. So, the spacecraft races of Yulin. The Yulin system is home to many spacecraft races. Banu, Epunate, Fodai, run by the Banu Solai that make their homes there. Yulin 4 is the Banu's preferred racetrack, as the myriad natural formations create the most exciting and dangerous roads. Crashes are not uncommon. Betting is encouraged, and some fortunes have been made or broken on the outcomes of these races.
Okay. Now, let me say this first. I didn't know that the Banu had a race. That was something that was interesting for me to find out. Kalrati, I'm gonna throw this at you. Then anybody else wants to toss in on this, fine, because we're still talking about these different races and lore. one of the things they mentioned here is that betting is encouraged. Do you guys think, is there a way for gambling to take place in the game?
Yes. Easily.
Okay, wait. Let me finish. That doesn't extend outside of the game where there can be real issues, because some countries have issues with gambling. And I'm curious to see how this is going to pop up. And I know that you can't stop people who do things privately or something like that. But you guys know that there's always going to be somebody who's out there trying to figure out how to make a buck, right? And I ain't talking about UEC bucks. So, you know, let me get to Kalrati first because it's on him. Okay. And I'll tell you, what are your thoughts about this? Because we're saying gambling is encouraged within the game, and that's one thing. But, you know, is there going to be any issue in relation to the social dynamics of this game and real gambling? Because we know how people do gold farming and things outside of games. Any thoughts on that, Kalrati?
Yeah, so one of the things that I was thinking is how we can tie it to, for instance, the combat assistance beacon. So on the mechanics side, no, it's something that is possible, but in terms of, you know, it being an ethical thing and, you know, it's, I would say legality, it depends on, you know, it is a hard question because it depends on different countries, you know, so I would say it hugely depends on CIG's take on it, but also if they keep it in a way where it doesn't necessarily welcome the
promote it in some form.
Yeah, then it is possible because, for example, I'm not sure how many of you would have played Pokemon. Was it Pokemon Red, Pokemon Yellow? And there were these casinos in the game where you could have, you know, gambled and you won these Pokemon moves that you could actually apply to your Pokemon. So, and it was not based on skill. It was just you simply just pressing a button, if I recall correctly, and it happened. And it didn't really raise any legality issues. So it's possible.
Okay. All right. Jade, you got thoughts?
Yeah, I don't see there being a problem so long as you cannot cash out UEC. So yes, we can buy UEC on the site, or AUEC. Well, it's UEC. It's AUEC until we have you know, the released game. But you can't cash it out. So that protects CIG. If you have any in-game gambling for UEC, technically, there's nothing you can do with that UEC other than use it on other things in the game, right? And so that doesn't run afoul of the law in terms, like, and I'm not a legal you know, expert on this, but from what I understand, unless CIG were to provide a way to turn that UEC back into real money, there's no issue because it's just gambling an in-game currency, and plenty of games have done that with no issues, right? As long as there's no way for you to cash out, no official way at least for you to cash out, I don't see a problem with it. The other thing they could do is just make gambling not super profitable. Like, I don't like that idea because then why would you do it? But some people might, you know, might like to do it just because it's something fun to do. Let's watch this race and bet a little bit on it. But it's not going to be something that you're going to get rich in the game. And Chris Roberts has been very vocal about not wanting any passive income in the game. And gambling is pretty close to passive income. So you just don't make it too profitable, and you can do it.
Nomad, there are people on eBay selling AUEC, and not only are they selling it, there are people buying it. You know, will we ever get to a place where, like Jade said, if there's certain guardrails there, you know, because I'm not being just on racing. I mean, it could be the freaking arcade machines we saw earlier playing pool, right? You know, again, you can't stop person to person type of stuff. But I know that it's been an issue when you watch the gaming industry of how there are protections to make sure you don't have minors or people taking advantage of people and actually transacting real world money in some form. You know, have you seen that people are selling AUEC on eBay? Did you know that, or had you seen it?
I've seen that. Yes, I definitely. It's been around for a while.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, if someone would look really close at that, that could be a problem for CIG, you know, because you find out some kid that's 12 years old is selling AUEC, that he got from, betting on a race, inside the game, and that, you start to get to legal gray areas there.
Some countries are lenient, and there are some that are really particular. And I agree with what Jay was saying earlier. As long as CIG sets up the parameters to show that they're, not promoting it per se, publicly.
They could just stop selling UEC. That would be the way to do it.
If they stop selling, because if they stop selling it on the website, that would be the way to do it. Yeah, that would cut it off. Right, that would be be a fix. Okay,
that'll be it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's move on to this next one here. I think this one's on Jade. Yeah, Yamping.
Yes, Yamping. Yamping is a dwarf planet in the Yaman system in the Xi'an Empire, and excuse me, xenolinguists. My Xi'an is horrible, so. Anyway, it is the last planet from its sun, and once home to several military outposts during the Xi'an-Human Cold War, standard Earth years 2530 to 2793. Yamping is now orbited by stations dedicated to entertainment, such as gambling halls, bars, hotels, and other services. Xi'an and human workers from the Yethalo. Okay. Yethlo Atho, I think, and Yethlo Seyanyo terraforming projects often spend their time here. And like I said, I apologize for the bad Xi'an.
Listen,
I don't think there's anybody here that would know the difference.
We're all going to slaughter it. Yeah, we're all going to slaughter it. Don't worry about it. We're all going to slaughter it. The biggest thing,
as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, really. The one thing we really want to highlight here is that we mentioned that we're seeing that racing is not just limited to us humans. We've seen that the Banu have one, and now we're seeing that the Xi'an have something as well, which is going to be cool. Yeah, which is cool because it gives us reasons once again to go to these other places and do things, right? Hopefully we'll be able to do that. But again, to see that the lore is expanded beyond us as humans, I think is really, really, really important. Okay, I'm going to speak.
It also opens up a Banu and Xi'an racing ship.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Ooh, wouldn't that be interesting, right? And we never really think about that because CIG has talked about the fact that we're so used to them building the ships for us, but we haven't thought about the fact of the ships that they're building for these other races. We've seen the Van Duel stuff, but we really don't know what everybody else's stuff looks like yet, and that's something to look forward to. I'm going to speed through these guys real quick to the familiar. Nomad, hit that one for us, please.
All right, my favorite place, new Wally's Bar. Wally's Bar is a bar and hangout spot dome. It is famous for its ostentatious decorations, such as chunks of icebergs, which feed a large waterfall as they melt. Mission giver Eddie Parr can be found here.
Okay. I'm going to hit each one of you all with a quick one. What would you like to see happen at Wally's Bar? I'm going to start with you, Nomad. What would you like to see socially happening there?
Change the music.
Yes.
Okay. Can you be more specific?
I want a list. Just play a collection of music.
Okay.
That one song is pretty bumping.
Yeah.
But it's just not one song. Just 15, 20 different songs just looping.
Okay.
And that place would just be fantastic.
All right. Kalrati, what about you? What would you like to see happen socially at Wally's?
I want more value-added NPC. All these NPCs walking and I can't even interact with them. I want to be able to interact with them and get some information from them.
Now, we mentioned about Eddie Parr, and we know Eddie Parr is going to be one of the bartenders that can happen, but it would be interesting to, even if there's an NPC there, just, I know like in Starfield and other games, Elite had this, where you just could be walking past somebody and overhear a conversation taking place that leads you to go do something, which would be very cool. It doesn't necessarily have to be Eddie Parr, but if you just happen to be there at the right time, you run into somebody who can actually give you some great information. Jade, what about you?
They're all over the place in Starfield.
In Starfield, yep. Jade, what about you? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so having visited the city of Neon in Starfield, I'm not going to give any spoilers, but what I want is like Nomad said, more variety in terms of the music, like a whole playlist of music. I also there's nobody dancing. Like you've got this incredible DJ that's up in the booth. You can see him. You can't visit him. Yeah. And I would hope that like in Starfield, you'll be able to actually go up and maybe just look over his shoulder in the booth or whatever. But I would like it to feel more like an actual big nightclub, which is what it is, because they have those other dance floors. There's nobody there unless you bring you and your friends. So I'd like to see some NPCs dancing. I'm sure they probably, first they need better dancing.
Yes, get rid of the chicken dance. Yep, I want to buy your chicken dance. Yep.
Yeah, but that's it, pretty much.
No, I think those are great ideas. I was going to say the same thing. The Oasis, those two bars, the dance areas with the floor, that'd be great. But we need something. To me, it'd be great to have something out there too for dancing. I wanted to see, and I know we've talked about this in the past when we talked about New Babbage and Microtech, but I would love for there be opportunities for DJs to actually spin there. Now, I don't know how that could happen, but to me, that would be where that booth is up there, and that become advertised that DJ so and so is going to be spinning at Wally's, not just Wally's, but any place where we have places like this, because there's so many people into music in the game that it would be really kind of cool to, like everything else, where players become a part of what's going on in the game. They could spin it. Maybe it's a list of approved songs that CIG has done. That's cool, but just to have a personality that can do that, to me, that would be just great.
Yeah, and like Maid Ariana just said, she mentioned the People's Radio. Like, we have 12 DJs that are from the Star Citizen community that would love to jump on that opportunity if it were all possible.
Absolutely.
And there are things like that in Second Life. Like there's anybody who's spent time in Second Life, you've been to a club and you've heard a live DJ.
Yep.
So
absolutely.
It's definitely something you can do.
Absolutely.
Like, hopefully CIG looks into that at some point.
Okay, very cool. All right, here's another one that we've all heard of before, Stella Fortuna. Who read last? Was that on, who read the last one for Wally's? Okay, so Kalrati, on you, Stella Fortuna.
Right, so Stella Fortuna is a human cultural celebration associated with good fortune and success in new ventures. It was first established as a commemoration of the successful colonization of Mars, or Sol 4. Feasting, fireworks, festivals, and other forms of mass celebration are hallmarks of the holiday, along with the colors gold and green. It is celebrated each year on March 15th throughout the United Empire of Earth, UEE.
Awesome.
Thank you, Maiden.
Thank you, Maiden.
Or the anonymous gifter.
Oh, another anonymous gifter again. Oh my God.
Anonymous.
Thank you so much, anonymous gifter. We appreciate that. We have to hear James Brown a few more times, gang. It looks like, but thank you again so much for that. Stella Fortuna, I'm looking forward to the day, Kalrati, when Stella Fortuna is not about selling us a green ship, but that some of the stuff you read actually happens. I don't think that there's anything that happens like when we do the other ones, like they give out the red envelopes and things like that. But I would love to see the fireworks display. I would love to see some type of special food that breaks out. And of course, festivals. I would love for something like that to happen. Now, of course, this is tied into Mars. We don't have Mars, but it is something that's celebrated throughout the UEE. So I would love to see it happen in a big way. And even if it's like the decorations of the green, the green tone, green theme that's done in certain places, maybe bars even take on a green theme during that time period. But I would love to see this stuff become much more integrated into the game.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's not just celebrated in the UE either. I remember years ago, CIG posted on their Facebook a Stella Fortuna celebration happening at Cafe Musain at Levski.
Levski too.
So it's pretty much just, all of humanity celebrates that we were able to colonize Mars, and that led us to the stars. And I can't wait until we have the Sol system so that, you could visit Mars and, definitely participate. I'm sure they'll have a big celebration there. But like it wouldn't, to me, be that difficult to have the color of the lighting change in different clubs and bars to be like green and yellow to represent Stella Fortuna during that time. I mean, it would be something the lighting people in the game would have to do, the work on the game would have to do. But I would love it if it was something they could create that's procedural, that when Luminalia comes, you have Luminalia colors, and it makes it feel more like a lived-in universe thing.
Absolutely. Nomad, do you own any Stella Fortuna colors in your fleet, or you stayed away from the green?
I pretty much stayed away.
Okay.
Yeah, I never really was able to get anything from Stella Fortuna.
Okay.
Actually, no. I might be mistaken. I may have gotten one paint.
Okay, paint.
I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
But probably not.
All right. Well, maybe that green reflected on your wallet and you decided not to do it. I don't know. Maybe that's what it was. Okay. All right. Go ahead. Let's see who read last. Was that Kalrati on that one? So Jade, this is you. Traveler's Day.
Yes. Traveler's Day is an annual holiday observed by the Church of the Journey on January 1st. It originated in the Croshaw system in 2905 when a small gathering of journeymen who had grown up together convened to exchange their experiences over the past year. They repeated their actions the following year and the next, wherever they were, thus spreading the practice until it became tradition. Traveler's Day activities include storytelling, a potluck feast, games, and a 20-kilometer walk known as the pilgrimage that begins at midnight local time. At the end of the walk, stories are swapped until sunrise. The largest Traveler's Day gathering in the United Empire of Earth occurs in New Arden on Sestilis, Davian 2, attracting thousands of visitors annually.
Okay. All right.
This is the religious holiday in Star Citizen.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Traveler's Day was one I wasn't very familiar with, and it's going to be interesting to see how they balance some of these topics out. But again, the lore team is hard at work, covering a whole lot of stuff to create a living, breathing universe. Were you going to say something there, Nomad?
No, I wasn't aware of this either.
Oh, okay. Okay. You hadn't heard of this one. So yeah, doing the research on this, I came across a couple things that I was, and hopefully some of you guys are learning some stuff too, because I didn't know anything about any of this one. But Traveler's Day, this one I missed completely until I looked it up. Yeah, Kalrati, you familiar with this one, Traveler's Day, or is this new for you too?
Nope, this is a new one for me.
Okay, all right, so I'm not the only one then. Okay,
I've known about Traveler's Day.
You know about Traveler's Day?
Years. Yeah,
okay.
Thanks to Paul.
Oh, okay.
Kelly.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. This one goes back to Nomad, Star Marine. You know what? I'll read this one, Star. I'll give you a break, Nomad. We got a couple more to go. Star Marine is a series of sim games developed by the Interdimension Software as ultra-realistic tactical shooters focusing on battles between the United Earth Empire of Earth, Marines, and various outlaw forces. Development of the first Star Marine started in 2941 with the formation of the Interdimension. It was released in 2945 to positive reviews and has become a popular competitive game. Multiple games in the series have been used in simulators for actual combat training by the UEE military. The games are also the basis for a popular action vids Star Marine and Star Marine 2 Bloodlock. Okay, so even though you guys know this, we looked at Star Marine as like the combat simulator side of it, but it's actually considered to be also entertainment. And as we've talked about this with Arena Commander, especially with the new update that we've seen, Arena Commander is designed to be incorporated into the game. It's not going to be this outside module like it is right now that you log into, but you'll be able to go into your sim pods and enter in to do that, and to do it both for fun and also for training. So that's one of the reasons why you've seen this morphing of the Arena Commander module, and it's expanding. It's not just there to be a standalone game per se, but also to become a part of the persistent universe that we play in. Anybody got any thoughts on Star Marine before we move on that? Everybody's kind of familiar with Star Marine.
It killed my video card.
Oh yeah, you talked about that. You talked about that. Tell people real quick what happened.
Yeah, so I actually it was the PTU, it was the second wave. And yeah, it was Christmas. And 10 days before Christmas, it killed my video card, so I didn't have any Star Citizen to play.
Oh wow!
But it was, it's nice to see, the evolution of Star Marine, and of course, I've been enjoying the new modes, of course, Gun Rush, and those other things, and the new Arena Commander. So, and who knows, maybe instead of Squadron 42, CR is going to make a movie called Star Marine.
Ooh, who knows?
For that one.
Who knows, right? Don't make that chicken happen before it hatches, okay? That's when we get into that subject, okay? All right, Nomad, why don't you hit that one for us? Entertainment 9.
Sure thing. Entertainment 9 Transmission, ENT. Entertainment 9 Transmission is a Spectrum broadcast network that focuses on live and scripted entertainment programming intended to appeal to humans between the ages of 18 and 34. The network has was acquired by ArcCorp in 2873, but has not been otherwise rebranded. In 2908, ENT acquired the assets of short-lived competitor Realcomm, including the Spectrum program Fakeouts.
Okay. So Entertainment 9 is basically a broadcast station. And again, we talk about how CIG is trying to incorporate everything into the universe. So you guys know the Spectrum that we use right now. That is actually a part of the lore and a part of the universe. When we did our show a few weeks ago about the website, we talked about the fact that navigating the website is somewhat difficult for people if you don't know that the website is supposed to be a reflection of the lore. So if you notice, when you go to the different areas where you would go to menu normally on any other website, it says apps instead. And the reason why it says apps is because if you go under apps, you'll see Star Map or you'll see Galactopedia. Those are supposed to be apps, applications that can be accessed through either your mobiGlass or monitors in the game or whatever. And then you can utilize all that as a part of one big world. So things like Entertainment 9 Transmission, which is a broadcast station, is a part of Spectrum, which is supposed to be something that we'll be able to call up and actually watch. It's a part of lore, but the idea is this gives them an opportunity or a means in lore and in game to bring things like this forward. Jade, there was some information you wanted to share about something other broadcasts that were on Spectrum too, right?
Yeah. So, my favorite one is a show called StarWatch, and it's basically a celebrity gossip and fashion oriented show hosted by Khaleesi, and there've been a bunch of those released in the lore since 2012, and I think the last one that they released was in 2021. And it just makes the universe feel a lot more real and lived in, and I can't wait to be able to watch an episode of StarWatch, on my ship or in my tab or something. And there's another show it's similar to it, which we're going to get to now, called Something Every Tuesday.
Okay. All right. Very cool. Royce Darby, thank you so much for that sub for 13 months. We appreciate that. I'm also announcing that we have hit our goal today, $3,250 for St. Jude Children's Hospital. You guys are amazing, which means that we have to do a giveaway. We're going to give away that 29, 48, and 49. Did I get it right? What are those things called? Digital goodies packs. So I'm going to start setting that up while we're doing a little bit more here. For just a couple of minutes. So we'll give you guys what the keyword will be for that to be able to get in on that giveaway. But thank you guys so much for helping us get there. We're already a quarter of the way to $4,000. So you guys are amazing. That's all I can say. You guys did it just today, which is great. We're going to hit that. We're going to hit $5,000 easily next week. I'm not even worried about that, but thank you guys so much for that. So that's Entertainment 9 Transmission. And then last but not least, Kalrati, why don't you hit that one for us there?
All right, so Something Every Tuesday. Something Every Tuesday is a weekly entertainment talk show hosted by comedian Asin Landari. Each episode opens with a monologue that comments on current events and then segues into interviews with a series of celebrity guests. Landari has used the program to invite little-known musical acts, comic performers, and authors to allow them to showcase their work. It first aired in 2934 in the Tuesday late evening program slot and was moved to an earlier time in 2935 after Landari's easy rapport with guests and a few surprise hit sketches helped it earn high ratings.
Okay. Jay, could you elaborate a little about this with Something Every Tuesday?
Yeah. So again, Something Every Tuesday is, it's sort of I guess some sort of talk show / late night shows type things, but it's not, I don't think it's a night show, but they have musical acts on, and it's basically just, entertainment, gossip, and what's going on in the universe, and sometimes if a lot of people skip over those articles when they come up for the lore posts. I encourage the people that skip over them to go back and read them, because quite often there's information in them that will be about something that you are actually interested in, or you'll get a hint at a future game mechanic sometimes before it's actually implemented in the game. And or in the case of like with regeneration, you can now see like what are the ramifications of this. Like one of the one of the articles was about an actor who has now undergone the regeneration and things like that. Like, so it makes it feel more immersive, more real, at least to me. And it also gives you an idea of why things are the way they are in the universe that doesn't necessarily always come across through the actual gameplay.
Okay. All right. So something every Tuesday. I'm kind of curious to see whether or not this late night TV programming becomes a thing. I know we had a conversation a little while ago about CIG producing its own type of machinima, right? And we talked about the fact that we really like what the community does. But I will say this, I know when they did Reunion, I was like, that's great. The Reunion, I thought it was a great piece. If they ever decided to do some type of broadcast, but again, something that's tied into the game in some form. And I don't know if it's late night information. What are they telling us? I don't know. But it could be a gossip show, right? It could be something like that. That if you watch this particular show, there's stuff that's being said there that maybe helps out. But then again, there could be a lot of things that they could create that will run. I don't know. Again, these monitors all over the place, for those of us who have ships that have TVs, I'm not talking about your MFDs for your fuel and stuff, guys. I'm talking about monitors or in the bars. I know they're going to run things like ship commercials and things like that, but I really want those things to be, when I want to find out about what's going on in the verse, I can go to a G-Lock or M&V or wherever and sit there and maybe get information. Because the Moby Glass, you guys, they've already told us there's a lot of things are going to be moving away from with the Moby Glass. The Moby Glass will have its purpose and its needs, but I really want to be able to interact with things that exist within the verse. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that's going to be a good way to do it? Do you think people will take advantage of it while they're eating their double dog?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm really looking forward to that kind of internal information system where you can, it lets you live in the universe. So I don't have to log out of the game or alt tab to a website to get my information. I can just go to a bar. I can just call up a monitor on my ship and get real-time information, and that's going to be fantastic.
Okay. Kalrati, any thoughts?
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with Nomad here. Anything that could actually keep us within the game itself is something that I'm all for. To keep us actually pulled into the game, having that Spectrum integration, and just, continuing to play the game, have it something, it doesn't have to be entirely value added. It can be, just something that, that we could also just see in our pastime or when you're doing activities. And in some cases, just provide information to us that is value added. So it can be, 50-50. So I definitely agree.
Okay. Well, the Aurora LN doesn't have any TVs in it, so you'll have to go somewhere to watch it. You know this, right?
I'll just borrow your 890 jump grip. That's what I'll do.
Yeah, okay, you borrow it. Okay, you guys can see that we just put in for the giveaway. All you have to do is put in / ticket, and you'll be able to be registered to get in for this. Once again, it's going to be for a $29.48, $40, and $49 digital goodies pack. So we appreciate you guys jumping in. If you're a subscriber, you get double the odds if you're a subscriber to the channel. But definitely jump in over that for the next couple of minutes. It's been great. We've had a lot of great information. Some of you may be wondering why the name of our show is different today. As you guys know, we're the Soul Citizens, but we're also the Soul Friends. We talked about that a little bit, and I don't know, Nomad, I know Jade told me she knows why we're the Soul Friends. Nomad, do you know why we're the Soul Friends today? Okay, you don't know? All right, Kalrati, do you know why we're the Soul Friends today?
I do.
Okay, all right. So we're going to show you guys, if you're wondering why we're called the Soul Friends, we're going to dedicate this show to a certain person today, but we want you guys to see why we are the Soul Friends. This happened on SCL this past Friday. People were blowing my text me and everything else telling me about this. So you can watch this for a second and you'll find out.
Is it easier to create for procedural stuff, or is it easier to just make a thing, it's bespoke, it's there, and then it's done, and it's going. I see a lot of conversations online, when I'm watching streamers and stuff like that, Authy or the Soul Citizens. I got there eventually and stuff like this, or even Salty Mike. Stop pausing.
So we're dedicating today's show to Disco Lando, okay? We're dedicating today's show because we had fun. This show was about fun and entertainment. So we're going to dedicate the Soul Friends to our good friend Disco Lando. And
thanks, Jarrett.
Yeah, but we appreciate the fact that he does watch us.
We gotta make a mug. We gotta make a Soul Friends mug.
Soul Friends mug.
Oh, that would.
Yeah, well, let me tell you something. I gotta watch out for that Friends logo because you know where that logo came from. Make sure we don't get a lawsuit. But today we are the Soul Friends just for our good friend Jarrett. So thank you for that. We'll have to give him when we get to CitizenCon. We'll have to give him a hard time about that. Maybe we'll present him with a Friends mug, Jade. Maybe that's what we'll do. We'll figure out give him a Soul
definitely.
Friends mug.
He'd love that, I'm sure.
I think that'll be a good thing to do. Okay, so listen, your Soul Friends shirt. Go on, I'm saying get a Friends shirt. All right, so we want you guys to jump in on this giveaway. We do want to do this for you guys. For those of you who are interested in the 29, 48, and 49 digital goodies pack, we want to be able to give that to you as well. So let's go ahead and jump into it. We did have one question that popped up, and it was from Danger Hobo, who asked which one of us was, oh God, what did he say who it was? He said, who is Chandler Bing of in Soul Friends? All right, for those of you who've ever watched Friends, y'all know that's one of the characters in there, okay? None of us, we're still going to be the Soul Citizens, but today we're just the Friends today. So here we go. If you guys have all chimed in.
Very happy to be here.
Who is that? Thank you for that follow, Shaika. Thank you so much. I know I'm probably killing that. I think it's shake. Shake your booty.
Shake.
Oh, that's
shake your booty. Shake your booty.
Shake your booty.
Oh my
gosh. I love it. Shake your booty.
I thought it was something Arabic.
I love it. Shake your booty. That's good. I love it. Okay. We're going to close out this giveaway and we're going to do the count. Let's see. Nomad, it's your first day with us, so why don't you give us the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we'll draw the winner.
Alrighty, here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Boom. Oh, I can't believe it. Captain Jones won this week. Good googly moogly. Captain Jones, I think he won once before. Oh my God, he's cleaning up. Captain Jones, congratulations. Woohoo. Way to go, Captain Jones. All right, Captain Jones, we're going to get that out. He said, nope. I guess he didn't win before. I got it wrong. Okay. Well, thank you. You said, Captain Jones says, I never win. Okay, well, you won today. You're part of Soul Friends, okay? You won today. All right, that's awesome. All right. And again, we have to give a special thanks to our we have an anonymous angel donor who has donated a tremendous amount of what we're going to be giving away over the next few weeks. And this is 2 of the items that they donated. So special thanks to that. We really appreciate it. Okay, let's talk about some other stuff that's coming up. We really want to talk about this next Sunday, gang. We are going, as you guys, we mentioned earlier, because we reached our $3,000 goal, we were committed to doing a 12-hour live stream, which we're going to do next Sunday, October 1st. We're going to begin at 10 a.m. Eastern time. That's going to go all the way till 10 p.m. Eastern time. And it says 9. That's because that's the last hour. Okay, but it's going to be 10. So if you guys can, we want you to join us that day. We have several guests. Let me see who's on here so I can tell you guys who our guests are, because there's a lot of them. Okay, here are some of our guests. We're going to have Paul Shelley, STEM Citizen, Starjump Grim, New Soul's going to be here, Fist and Java's going to be here, Space Tomato's going to be here, Oliver's Ark is going to be here, and some more. I haven't gotten times from them yet, but I think Execute's going to be here from Inforunners and some other folks. So we're going to have a lot of guests that are going to come here to help root, help us cheer, and also help support us with what we're doing for St. Jude Children's Hospital. So hopefully you guys will be able to join us next week for that 12 hours. You got to keep us awake too, okay? You got to keep us going. It's not 24 hours, but 12 hours is going to be our first time doing that. So we really hope you guys can join us next Sunday. And tell people, you can drop in anytime during that time period. We're going to be doing giveaways. We're gonna maybe even do, Jade, what do you think about us throwing together a race? You think we could do a race? And maybe have some people.
We can definitely do it.
Yeah, and have some of the
I'll
viewers
help
join
with
us.
that too.
Okay, yeah, think about how we can make that happen. Okay.
Yeah.
We could check out one of the racetracks and break in, those of us who want to break in our, whatever you want to break in. I don't know.
You know what? Why don't we use, let's make it real fun. Let's do a buggy race. That way we don't have to worry about the logistics of spawning vehicles.
Hey, you're right. Buggy race would be awesome. Yeah, we could flip out and have to walk all the way back from the end of the track. That'd be great.
Yep. Okay. The walk of shame, I call it.
It is a walk of shame, too. It really is a walk of shame. All right. So that's going to be next week, guys. So hopefully you guys will join us for that. Whoa, I pushed the wrong button. We're not done yet. Sorry. Where's the wrong one? Let's go here. Let's talk about what we've got coming up. Jay, can you talk about Thursday? Kalrati, can you talk about Saturday? And I will talk about next Sunday.
Yes, Thursdays. Every Thursday is Soul Talk, and it starts at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And that is where this is our citizen community, come into our Discord, and you can get on the show, talk with us. We discuss whatever was going on in Star Citizen. Fast Cart usually has bad jokes, but you can do a joke ban on him. It's great.
As if you can handle Fast Cart's jokes, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. And Kalrati.
All right, Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern, Soul Voices. We just pull from every single nook and cranny from the community with regards to any kind of topic of concern, be it from Spectrum, Reddit, you name it. We are here to talk about it, and you are also invited to come and share your thoughts and opinions with us. Give us your ideas, what you think about that particular topic, what CIG is doing, how it affects the community. That is Soul Voices.
You know what? We haven't had the fellas on in a while.
We haven't.
The player haters need to come back.
Yeah, we got to get the before Citizen Con. We got to get the player haters in. Well, you know what?
Oh yeah.
Who knows? Maybe they'll show up next week for the 12-hour live stream, right? They may pop in. We got to reach out. It's a Sunday. That's a different day for them, but we'll see if we can get them to show up next Sunday. Maybe the player haters can come and help co-host Will It About. Give us a break. All right. And last but not least, our show next Sunday. We're doing the 12-hour live stream, but Sunday is our normal panel show that we do now. Next week, we're doing a show called Can Star Citizens Fix Star Citizen? Now, that's actually going to be the theme for that day. And we're going to present that question to all of our guests and get their feelings on the idea. Now, what does it mean fixing Star Citizen? We're going to talk about not just technical things, but a whole lot of things that we see that may be concerns about us as a player base in the game, and how those things can be taken care of. Some people may have expertise in coding and understanding how computers work, and they can share their thoughts. Other people maybe just talk about other things in relation to what they think will make the game better overall. So that'll be kind of the theme throughout next weekend as we talk on Sunday. But at 7 to 9, our regular time, we're really going to be focusing on that topic and highlighting those things that need to be focused. And it's not just bugs, guys. I know we can say bugs, okay? But it's going to be much more than that. So it's going to be our conversation next week, and hopefully you guys will be able to join us for that. Okay. All right. We are over just by 23 minutes today, but we're there. Thank you again to everyone, our anonymous donors, whether you were the same person that did 20 or 2 people that did 10. Thank you so much for the subscription donations. It really helps us to be able to support our community and do what we do here. Those of you who gave bits and donations, thank you for that. Those of you who followed first time here, we appreciate you guys being here as well. We never take it for granted. Don't forget that we do have merchandise if you guys want to support us that way. But right now, we really want our energy to go into St. Jude, because we really would love to make this goal of $10,000. We are just under 30 days to get there. So we know you guys can help us with that, okay? And we really appreciate all the effort that you do. We are getting ready to set you up for a raid. We're going to send you over to our good friend Starjump Grim, who is on right now. You guys know Grim is a wonderful person. The folks with Starjump Station, they're just fabulous folks, and we always love supporting them and what they do because they contribute so much to our community. So when you get over with Grim, let him know you came over from the Soul Citizens. Like and follow him. You don't even have to wonder. Like and follow this guy. He's a great guy. I wish he was going to Citizen Con this year. He was, and he told me he couldn't go now. So I'm kind of brokenhearted because I really want to meet him in person. Anyway, thank you guys so much. As always, stay safe. Take care of yourselves. Thank you, everybody. Nomad, welcome again. We appreciate you being here first day. Look forward to seeing you back next week. And as always, gang, peace, love, and soul. Have a great week. Take care.
Bye.